Hola, estamos en Panamá, una tarde bien calurosa. Yo soy Teresa, Mayita, y estamos en mi pueblito interiorano haciendo un recorrido para
Believe in Yourself video.
Gracias.
The building that's straight ahead, for many, many years, this was part of the U.S. soil. And this area was the building where the transition, where the transfer occurred in 1999, when the Panama Canal was given back to the Panamanians, where they took control again. But for many years, this area was restricted and Panamanians were not allowed on these soils. This monument was made in honor of the Major General George W. Gothold. He was a chief engineer of the Panama Canal and the master builder engineer of Genuine. He was a man of vision, and so this was made in his honor. Interesting.
Estamos viendo a mi tía. Estamos viendo a mi prima Claudette aquí en Panamá que nos vino a visitar. Believe in yourself. Wendy, mi sobrina Wendy, que tiene el mismo cumpleaños que yo. Dale, Wendy.
Hello, Believe in Yourself by mi tía Claudette.
Hello everybody, this is Claudette. We are fortunate we have a tour guide and her name is Nigi. Mucho gusto, Nigi.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Okay.
Bueno, aquí lo que vamos a observar es una película de lo que son los pueblos del interior del país.
Okay.
Las provincias centrales de Panamá. Con su plaza y alrededor vamos a ir observando los diferentes locales muy importantes en un pueblo.
So this is, we're walking and following Nikki. As I said before, this area is just an area that shows the interior, provinces of the interior of the country. And it's just a replica of what existed then. And Nikki is just going to elaborate for us.
Y bueno, aparte que también estamos en las faldas del Cerro Ancón, donde usted puede observar y tomarle la foto a la bandera.
Hi, this is Celia Cooper. I'm glad to see my girlfriend Claudette, and I wish her Happy New Year's and health and strength to do all what she has to do.
Okay, this is a very important part of the country, Cerro Ancón. Para los que no saben, dígales qué significa el Cerro Ancón.
Bueno, el Cerro Ancón es símbolo de soberanía. Pero también fue un punto estratégico cuando estaban las bases militares, y este era un búnker en donde ellos podían visualizar lo que es todo el área del Pacífico a la entrada a lo que es al canal.
Okay, Cerro Ancón, this was a very strategic point when the military base was here in Panama. This point was their point of reference, and they were able to control all everybody that was coming in and out of Panama because it's a very strategic location. So that's what that signifies, the Cerro Ancón. Okay. Adelante, Nigi.
Ahora vamos entonces a observar una pequeña réplica de lo que sería la iglesia de Natá de los Caballeros. La original es la iglesia más antigua que tenemos hacia el interior del país. Esta es una réplica.
All right, we're going into the church, which is a replica. And it's located, it's part of, the church is called Natá de los Caballeros, and it's just a replica of the original church. So let's just walk, let's follow Neti, and she's going to take us so we can take a look at the church. I mean, there's so much history here in my country, so much, it's just great to be here and be able to do this with my daughter. It's just awesome. Hey everybody, final leg of my trip to Panama, and this area is called Mi Pueblito Interiorano. What this is a replica of how the houses are built in the interior, you know, the interior of the country. Provinces like Honduras, not Honduras, I'm sorry, like Panama, different places, but this is what the, you know, the houses are built like. So this is what this is, a replica of what you found then there. There's a church, there's a telegraph office, there's so much here. And there's Maya and Teresa, and there's a guard.
Saludos a Believe in Yourself from Panama.
¿Cómo tú te llamas, mi amor?
Emanuel.
Feliz Navidad, ¿de parte de quién? De Manuel. ¿Y tu hermanito? ¿Cómo se llama tu hermanito?
Josué.
Josué. Feliz Navidad. ¿Y tu mami?
Feliz Navidad.
Gracias, feliz Navidad. Bye, nos vemos. Saludos, saluden.
Chao.
Chao. Hello everybody, this is Claudette for Believe in Yourself video, and I am excited. I am in the country that gave me life, Panama, Central America. Super excited. I'm here with my daughter Maya. We are starting a tour today. We arrived early this morning, but it's really exciting because I'm doing this with my daughter. And after not living here for so many years, it just gives me such a warm feeling to come back and show off where I came from, show my daughter where her mom came from. We're in Panama City. We are on a tour. We're starting the tour. Our tour guide is Diana. Say hello, Diana. Hola. Hola, Diana. Diana is our tour guide, so we're gonna see all the different things in Panama that have changed. There's so much that have changed. I personally don't know. I don't know the city that well. I'm from a town called Colon, and this is one of the provinces. But we're gonna take a tour. We're gonna take a visit to Colon also, but not today. Obviously, today is just Panama City. Learning more about my country and what it has to offer. It's just a beautiful place. So this is where we are. So just stay close, continue to watch. There's a lot to watch. We're gonna go on a tour to the Panama Canal. We're gonna go to Casco Viejo. Vamos a ir, Diana? Casco Viejo, which is old Panama. ¿Dónde más vamos, Diana?
Amador.
We're gonna go to Amador, that's the coastway, right? And we're gonna go do the Panama Canal. So there is a lot to see. So you have to continue to watch and enjoy my country as I discover places that I have not seen. So continue to watch and enjoy along with me and my daughter, Maya. Wave to the camera, Maya. Maya is busy on her phone, but we're excited. Just full force ahead. So stay close, there's more to watch. Panama is a beautiful country. But like everywhere else, there's poverty everywhere you go. There are the highs and lows of living in a country that caters to the haves and the have-not. So there's some areas you'll find that are very, very poor, and it's just so sad because you can walk across the street, like in every country, and there will be an area that is, you know, pretty well-to-do, and then the other side is just poverty. But it's the way of life, and that's what it is. And you know, like everything else, you try to help your own people and do what's necessary. So much have changed. I'm not familiar with Panama City, again, because where I lived, I grew up in a city called Colón, which is one of the provinces. ¿Son 9 provincias todavía, ahora son 10?
Sí. Acá,
Mhm.
cédula.
This is where you get your documents, Tribunal Electoral. This is where people come to get their ID, identification cards, and we're going to do some of that today too. Because one of the great things about being born here in Panama and having being an American citizen, you are entitled to dual citizenship. So that's the beautiful thing about being born here in Panama, one of the advantages. And it also goes along for children of the person who was born here in Panama, and that applies to my children. So they automatically are entitled to a Panamanian passport and Panamanian identifications, because they, I guess by proxy, they're also Panamanian. So I don't know what we're looking at now, Diana. What's this? What is this highway called, Diana? ¿Esto qué es, Diana?
Aeropuerto.
This is the airport, Albrook Airport. So we're looking here, we're just passing. So much land. One of the things about Panama, even though it's dead set in the middle of Central America, one of the smallest countries in Central America, but there is so much to see. Panama has the shape of an S, you know, sort of lying down. It's just interesting, the shape of the country. When you look at the map, you can see how the country, where it's located. It's in the middle, and it's the connecting country for South and North America. It's right in the middle. This is on the side here. We're looking at part of Panama Canal, and this takes you to another province. It takes you to the province where I'm from, Colón. But this just kind of shows you all the containers. I mean, it's so much that happens here in the Panama Canal. It's just interesting, but you'll see much, much more. Right now we're in a car, we're mobile, so you know, you can't really enjoy, but just take a look. This is the Port Authority, Panama. It's just great. You know, I'm so proud. I'm glad that I'm here doing this, and I'm also glad that I come from a place. ¿Cómo se llama esto, Diana?
Es un mini mall.
This is a mall, Terrazas Albrook Mall. This is what Diana tells me. Diana is our tour guide, so she's kind of giving Maya and I the scoop about where we're going. It's just great. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be able to do this, because, you know, you talk so much about where you're from and people hear you, yes, but seeing it is a different story when you can actually physically see it. Panama reminds me a lot of Puerto Rico. You know, it looks a lot like Puerto Rico. And I say Puerto Rico because I've been to Puerto Rico, and it's the same kind of easy living, not excitable. People are just, you know, very warm and friendly. This is kind of how it is. You know, the natives, they embrace you when you come in, and you know, especially when they know that, you know, you're one of their own also. They just love showing off, you know, their country and, you know, all that it has to offer. So we're at a stoplight right now with Diana, and we're gonna continue to, you know, travel to where we're going. I think the first stop, she tells me, is we're going to the Panama Canal. So I was here 4 years ago, but there have been changes, so we'll be able to see what changes they've made. And hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Stay close. We are now entering to the Panama Canal. That's where we're going. So this is where one of our tours begin. So stay with me. There's a lot to see. Bienvenidos al Canal de Panama. Welcome to the Panama Canal. Follow me, people.
Celia Cooper, and you watching Believe in Yourself from Panama.
Yeah, the indigenous people from my country, they make something called molas. And these are great pieces that a lot of people purchase them and they make dresses and different things, but I personally love to frame it. I have a beautiful piece that I bought the last time I was here and I framed it. It's just beautiful. You get a nice frame and you know, you just have it done, and it's really a conversation piece. So we're going to look at some of the work that the indigenous people here, they're just really brilliant and beautiful, so stay close. We're entering the Panama Canal. Sí, por favor. Gracias. We're entering the area for the Panama Canal, and this is just something that is breathtaking. I remember the last time I was here 4 years ago. I mean, I was just in awe when I looked at how the process, how they operate the gates, how it opens up for the water to flow, how the ships come in, how they exit. I mean, it's just how the water accumulates and how, you know, they lower the water for the ships to really come through. And there's some very big ships that come through the Panama Canal, but again, it's something that you really have to see with your own eyes, because it's easy for me to tell you, but you know, looking at vivid pictures or a video would give you a better understanding of how the process works. Ships from all over the world come through the Panama Canal, all over the world. It's, again, we are dead in the middle of Central America. So we have arrived to the visitor center for the Panama Canal. Our tour guide, Diana, is just walking along with Maya. So this is the IMAX Canal de Panama, and this is where we're going to see the tour, how the ships go through the canal. So this is something that really is worth seeing. So stay close and follow me. Everybody is just like us, gathered here, waiting to go in to look.
This is Celia Cooper, and Believe in Myself from Panama.
Just a super quick hello. I'm here in Panama, my country. I'm excited, super excited. There's so much to see. We're here at the Panama Canal. So stay close, don't go anywhere. There's a lot to see, a lot to see. To your right, Maya. Celebrating the holidays. I'm so happy that I'm able to do this, and even happier that I'm doing it with my baby, with Maya. We're here in Panama, the country that gave me life. The country where all my early years, where I was formed, all my formative years. This is just, you know, the cost to enter the Panama Canal because I am a resident, because as I told you guys, I have dual citizenship. So I can come in for $5. Those who are not residents of the country, they have to pay more. So that's the difference. So there are a lot of privilege that you get when you have dual citizenship. So we're in the museum, so we're gonna walk around and just look. ¿A dónde, Diana? ¿Para dónde? This is all the Panama Canal, so we're gonna go into the museum. I mean, there's shops. Okay, ¿dónde están? All right, this may not be such a great photo, but we're here and there's a ship entering. But the sun, the way the sun is coming through, I'm not able to capture it in the best way, but I wanted the process of how the ships enter the gates, the whole process, of how the water is removed and then filled back up. It's really amazing. This ship is called what is it, Parsifal. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's just a pretty amazing trajectory. This is just a plaque where they're acknowledging the importance of the British West Indians, their contribution to the building of the Panama Canal. Because as you know, the canal was really built by a lot of people, a lot of hands, a lot of people from the West Indies who came to Panama on a promise and were really involved in the building of the Panama Canal. So, you know, this is just a great story. You know, that's why a lot of people from the West Indies ended up here in Panama during the time of the Panama Canal. So there are a lot of families that are here that migrated to Panama during that time and stayed. This is all just view of the Panama Canal. Really something else to see, really spectacular. This ship is called the Parsifal. And I don't know where it's coming from, but I can tell you one thing, it's ginormous. And I don't know if I'm really doing justice to how it really does, you know, eliminate the water when the ships come through. Probably not, but I hope you can get a picture, sort of an idea of what the process is like. As a child growing up in Panama, this was always one of the things that, being in school, that you had to do. You had to visit the Panama Canal. But way back when, for me growing up way back when, it was so different. But this was one of the things, all kids here in Panama, they have a chance to come and see the Panama Canal. And there are different lots. Right now we are at Miraflores lot. So, you know, this is one of the, growing up in school, this is one of the things that you did, because it was important that you knew all about your country and the things that happen here and how important it is in terms of us being where we are and our location in the world, and how important it is in terms of what happens, imports and exports that go on, all the ships that come through, and, you know, just kind of to continue their voyage. But this is where, you know, most of them have to come through.
Vamos a cerrar las puertas para empezar el proceso de descenso. En este caso empezamos a transferir agua de la cámara superior donde se encuentra la embarcación, que es la siguiente embarcación que hará el rizaje con ella. En conjunto Esto es lo que vamos a conocer como tránsito en cata, donde los dos o más naves pueden hacer tránsito al mismo tiempo, de tal forma de ahorrar tiempo y aguas para el canal de Panamá. Estos remolcadores forman parte importante de la flota ganadera, asisten a las embarcaciones al entrar o salir, y en el tercer juego de esclusas creando tensión tanto en proa como en popa. Aquí en las esclusas antiguas vamos a utilizar las locomotoras en vez de los remolcadores como lo estamos utilizando en el tercer juego de esclusas. That boat will assist the vessel entering to the locks, exiting the locks. And if there is a loss, we're going to use this tugboat, making tension and the moment in the stern.
Tiene la de Panamá, la de Francia, papá, ¿qué dice?
One thing about the ships entering the Panama Canal, all of them need to have a Panamanian flag, sporting a Panamanian flag. It's important along with their flag of their country of origin, but they must sport a flag of Panama coming through. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see all the flags that are on the very top.
Ya dentro de aproximadamente hora y media más, este centro tendrá que cerrar sus puertas al público. Tomen ventaja de su tiempo para visitar la sala de exhibiciones y ver las películas sobre el canal. 4:30 la siguiente película en el idioma español, 5:30 la última del día. Recuerden que en cada uno de estos casos estar unos 10 minutos antes.
We've just experienced a large cargo ship coming through Mirror Forest blocks, Panama Canal.
Watch a video presentation. Each hour or club we're going to show the English video. So the next one we're going to show now at 4 o'clock, and the next one at 5 o'clock. Please keep in mind that you have to leave at least 5 minutes before the video.
Papá, ¿qué dice?
So we've now entered the museum, and so it's just interesting to see how things were done back then. And these are just murals of people working, just, you know, trying to do what they need to do to build the Panama Canal way back when. It's just amazing. Take a look. It shows you all that they had to go through. You know, the French, these were the French people who came in first, trying to do what they needed to do and establish themselves and continue with the process. They weren't successful, but they were here. See, these are the people that I tell you that came in from the West Indies. A lot of people came from the West Indies that worked on the Panama Canal. These are all murals of how it was then. These are just depictions of how things look way back when. The streets, the houses. Our tour guide, Deanna. Wave, Deanna. Just walking through the corridors and just looking at the work that they did back then to finally complete the process. everything was very important, just extremely important to the process. This is just another depiction of how, you know, transporting the materials that were needed to speed up the process of the building of the Panama Canal. It's just interesting. Take a look. And then this shows you, this is the steel that was used for the gates. It's just, you know, really amazing. It's amazing. It shows you, the quality and how much they had to take into account to do what they did. Isn't it great to be living in a country where there's so much history and where a ginormous role has been played by your country in history, because that's exactly what it is. Panama. When you think of Panama, you think of the Panama Canal, but you really don't think about how instrumental it has been for us here in Panama, for the Panamanians, in terms of world transportation, moving products from one end to another. This has been the role Panama has played with their centric location. Well, you know about the treaty back in 1976, where Jimmy Carter signed that treaty, but it was also all based on the importance of the Panama Canal. Walk with me. This is just a depiction of a ship, one of the ships that came through the canal. So they have a module of a ship. And this is a mural of, I guess, people who've worked on the canal. Some of them, of course, lost their lives. Here's a mural of people who gave their lives just to, see the finished product. Unfortunately, some of them didn't. But, this is all history. about the importance Panama has had in the world in terms of its location and to the community, all the ships that continue to come through. So this is what this is in a nutshell. You know, the route and the role Panama has played throughout the whole process. This is just again talking again about the story. You know, speak about when the treaty was signed in 1903. This is how the changes came about. It speaks about the transitioning from 1977 to 1999, where instead of having 2 Americans on the canal, the role changed where the person in control was someone from Panama and the presence of the American government was diminished. This is what this speaks about in a nutshell. This is a very important mural in terms of the history of the Panama Canal, and it also speaks about where they are today.
Right here, that's history. 1903, when they started ready to build this canal, it was part of
most of you probably don't know, but Panama belonged to Colombia in the early 1900s, and it speaks about the separation also. Just a depiction of the ships that would come through in the containers. This is just really interesting how the murals are constructed and how it shows you how things were back then and how they are today. This is for the inauguration of the amplification of the Panama Canal. This is when they sort of expanded the canal. This was in 2016. I remember that. I wasn't here, but I know it was a big to-do. Our tour here at Miraflores Lock, the canal, part of the canal. So now we're on to Amador. That's another very famous spot here in Panama, and so we'll be able to look at, visualize actually what happened there and how things were done back then. It's a beauty because there's so much that happened at Amador, how there are a group of islands, how they separated it and what they did in terms of the separation is just pretty interesting. Now I'm walking down the stairs and I'm going to turn my camera off because I don't want to fall. You don't want your tour guide to fall. There goes Maya walking down.
Hacia mano derecha está el casco.
So much to see in Panama. Just driving along, we just left the canal Miraflores Locks, so we're just heading to another area that's called Amador. But just looking at how much has been done here in Panama City, just like I said, there is the good, the bad, and the ugly. There are areas that are just spectacular, but then there's the middle class area, and then there are areas of people who are struggling and continue to struggle. So you know, you can't have the good without the bad or the ugly. So we're just driving along and just enjoying the view. Again, just want to say thank you to our tour guide, Diana. Diana is from Venezuela, and she's been in Panama for about 3 years now. So you know, she's been great. We're just really enjoying the sightseeing and all that Panama represents. Casco Viejo, lo que se llama Casco Viejo.
Yo le digo casco antiguo.
Sí, igual. Cuando creciendo le decíamos casco viejo, but this is another side of Panama City, old Panama. It's called Casco Viejo. So we're just driving through. It's just interesting when you look at the buildings and the depiction. It's just interesting. So much has changed, but then a lot still remains the same. And one of the things that they've done here is try to maintain the structure of a lot of buildings because they're important to Panama's evolution.
De acá se visualizan las 4 islas, que son las que están a aquel lado.
On the high riser.
Sí, tú me dices si quieres que le baje el video, tú me dices y yo se lo hago.
No, está bien.
De noche, la luna.
Sí, un poquitito, por favor.
¿Se lo bajo?
Sí, por favor.
¿El de atrás?
No, ahí está bien, está bien. Beautiful ocean. Water. One of the things about Panama, everything means something. So this is one of the representation of the martyrs. One of the statues that was put up, and it's important because a lot of people lost their lives, and Panamanians always, one of the things they try to remember, well, never forget what people who've lost their life, what they've been through. And this is one of the things I love about my country. We don't only do what we do, but we kind of continue to remember those who have passed on. And by remembering, we really don't forget. So I love this representation right here. I just think it's powerful. We're just driving with the tour guide, and I asked to get out because I wanted to come out and take a photo of this, or just video this. This is great. There's on my flag, my beautiful flag. It means so much to those like me who were born here. It's important. It symbolizes what we've been through. This area is called Amador. It's just a great area. A lot of people come out here on the weekend. People with families, they do bike riding. Those electric scooters now. A lot of people, that's like the in thing here in Panama, but also in the U.S. Everybody has a motor scooter, or whatever it is those things are called. But the view is still spectacular here. And the weather has cooperated. I'm happy that there's no rain. Well, December is normally pretty breezy here in Panama. I mean, it's warm, but you can feel the breeze, which is a great thing. We're gonna try to get something to eat in a little while to continue on our tour. It's just great. So people are just enjoying themselves. There are a couple of ships out in the marina, boats. Panama is such a rich country. It really is. Just wish that the people that are the workers were really remunerated, were paid better, received better wages. That's always been the hardest thing. You work so hard for so little. But this is just a great time of the year here in Panama. I have not been here for a Christmas in more than 35 years. So this is big for me and big for Maya as well. So we're just enjoying all that we're able to see Our hotel is great. The staff is beautiful too. You know, kudos to the staff at Novotel for being so warm and so accommodating. So that really makes a difference when you're staying in the place where they're really welcoming. Just take a look. This is one of the things that this area is known for. A lot of people come here for seafood. If you need to find a good spot, yeah, look at all the yachts. If you need to find a good spot to eat, you know, in terms of seafood, this is the place to be. Everybody comes here.
Boulevard de Amador.
Yeah. This is the Amador's Boulevard. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to eat seafood. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have ourselves a very great helping of seafood.
Realmente a la gente le gusta grabar, tomar fotos porque la vida es bella.
Sí. People are just sitting down. This is what people do with their families on Sundays. They just come out here and just hang out. Panamanians are really family-oriented people. They do a lot with their families. They really do. It's all about the family. The family is important. Always has been. Okay. Always will be.
Aquí está. La vida bella.
People are just relaxing, enjoying themselves. I love that the sun is finally setting, and Maya and I just finished having dinner here at this restaurant on Amador called La Sirena. Just beautiful. Look at the view. Look at the view. I am just really in love with this view. It's just beautiful. I'll be able to show you a little bit more, because at night the view is just spectacular. I mean, in the day as well. But looking at it at night, it really makes a difference. You can really be able to see the details of all that has been done in Panama over the years. I have to give it to my country. I'm so proud, so proud, so proud of my people. They've done well. They've done well. There's still poverty. There's still a lot of poverty. There's room for improvement, but they have done great. The food was delicious. I just loved it. And the drinks were ginormous too. So, just continue to watch. We're going to tour the Amador way, and you'll be able to see a little bit more. I love the restaurant too. I mean, it's just very homey. The details of the restaurant is very rustic, but you know, beautiful. Take a look. Our tour guide is downstairs waiting while we eat. There's music playing in the background. Take a look at the view. Take a look at the view. The view is just spectacular. Now that the sun is setting, you'll be able to enjoy what I'm seeing. It's breathtaking. Stay close. Continue to watch. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video in Panama on location. With my peeps, with my family, getting in touch with my roots, reconnecting with my roots, with my daughter. Beautiful. And it's called Chiva Parrandera, but a chiva for us is a bus. Yeah, it's like a disco. So this is the inside. It's a roaming disco. Sí, me gustaría. Sí. Gracias, sí. We're going to take a look inside of the party bus. Buses in Panama, I remember buses in Panama, they always had the latest music and they were very, very colorful. That's what I remember about the buses. I mean, you were on the bus and you could dance all the way to wherever you were going because they had music, and it was just really amazing. And everybody had a special bus that they wanted to be a part of because of the music. You know, some drivers had the latest music, and that's the bus you always wanted to be on. But let's just go into the party bus and see what it looks like inside. Follow me. Towards the party bus. Take a look at all the lights. This is just fantastic. This wasn't around when I was growing up, a party bus. Excited.
Le voy a permitir para que entren ideas.
So they're going to allow us to go in and take a look. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? ¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Eddie, de Imperio Rumba.
Mucho gusto, Eri.
Mucho gusto a usted.
Un saludo a la gente, un saludo a la raza.
Play, you know. Saludos para la raza.
Gracias, gracias.
Puedes subir con confianza.
Gracias.
Esto es Imperio Rumba.
Imperio Rumba.
Let's go.
This is the party bus. People board this bus, and there's food and drinks and all this great things, and they have the music back here. Look, it's a little messy now because the people got off, but they just party all the way to wherever you board the bus and you just dance. This is what people do. They party and dance, board and dance. This is just great. Thank you to the driver for allowing me to get on this bus to see all that is happening in here. ¿Y cómo se hace para hacer un...
Bueno, buscan a Imperio Rumba en Facebook o Instagram y ahí le damos las cotizaciones. Tenemos varios paquetes y varias chivas.
Okay, so this is what he's saying. ¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Eddie, de Imperio Rumba.
Eddie said you just have to reach out to him on Facebook and he can tell you how to become a part of the party bus, how you can reserve a party
Imperio Rumba,
bus.
Panama Live.
Panama Light Imperio Rumba. That's the name of the group he's a part of. Mira, got a shout out. Believe in yourself. From Panama.
Se rumbean,
Sí.
se van, toman,
Toman y bailan.
todo. Eso, no tienen música ahorita, pero eso es duro.
Sí.
Rumbean y todo.
Well, what they do, they board the bus at a certain spot, and all they do is party all the way into the city.
Bueno.
That's what they do. Party all night. Good for them. That's the life you live. Good life, good life, great life. Look at all the lights. Traffic is pretty heavy going into this area of Panama. It's old Panama, and the streets are pretty narrow, and you know, it's just hard. It takes a little while to get in because a lot of people like to come in also, just like we are, to come in and take a look at old Panama. You know, it's the way things were back then, before they did all the major changes to the city. And people love to see. Everybody loves the old Panama. No, I am not from Panama City. My family is from Colón. That's one of the provinces, one of the 9 provinces of Panama. And I haven't been there, but I'm going to go also. And we'll take a look of the town, the city where I come from. A lot has changed. You know, I don't know that they've shown enough attention to the place where I'm from, unfortunately. But you'll be able to see. A lot has changed. Was trying to see if I could find my school. I don't know if it's still there, but I will also try to get to my school. I know my teachers, most of them, probably passed on, but it would be great to just go back and see the structure, just see the building, to see if it's still there. You know, it's just a great feeling to be home. Just a little bittersweet because my dad passed away. Have to go pay a visit to my dad also at the cemetery. But also my mom, you know, this would have been a great trip to come and bring my mother, because, you know, my mom loves her roots and loves where she's from. Unfortunately, she's not here in body, but I know she's here in spirit. And I have not been home to celebrate a Christmas in close to 40 years. It's a long time, but I'm happy that I'm here with my daughter. This is big for me. The last time she came, she was only 17 months old. So this is really all new to her, you know, just seeing the country for what it is, seeing where her mom comes from. So that's pretty big. I would say it's big. It's gigantic. It's ginormous. My little humble country, the country who was a part of all my very significant years growing up as a young child in Panama, and just being able to navigate the waters and be able to move around and learn all that I learned, and just being a part of it all. It's just a magnificent feeling. So there is a lot of traffic just going through, but people are just, the vendors, there are a lot of street vendors, they just sit on the side. Here's one particular, and they sell juices, they sell all kinds of things. You know, things that are really from the country in terms of the foods. You can find maybe like a bollo. A bollo is made out of cornmeal, yellow cornmeal, and it's in a leaf. And you can also find tamales. Tamales is also made out of yellow cornmeal, and there is chicken on the inside. It's very flavorful and very delicious. It's one of the typical meals here in Panama. I love tamales. I love it. You know, I just love to eat it. I love the food from my country. I just happen to love it. So we're going to continue to navigate, and I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Continue to watch and enjoy with me. Enjoy this ride through old Panama, Casco Viejo. Buildings. We're in old Panama. One of the things about these buildings is because they're part of the city, they belong to the city, you can change the structure of the building. You can make repairs, but everything needs to stay the way it is. So people are very, very careful about any changes that they make because it has to be approved by the city. They don't want to lose the structure. Everything has to remain the same because it belongs to the
Hotel muy
city.
famoso porque aquí venden el chocolate más bueno de Panamá. Acá en este hotel de acá, pero de la otra ala es el chocolate muy famoso.
Yo creo que he venido aquí. Yo he venido aquí. This is a very famous hotel. Everybody comes here because they make the best hot chocolate, believe it or not. The best hot chocolate.
Derecha, aproximadamente como en 600, 700 metros, es la parte del Chorrillo, que es donde nace, donde fue criado el señor hermano de piedra Durán.
So if you go straight down, you end up in Chorrillo. If you go straight down, and Chorrillo is one of the places in Panama where the famous boxer Mano de Piedra Durán, where he was born. He is a native from Chorrillo, and everybody knows that. I was very privileged the last time I was here to have had dinner with him. He has a restaurant. I was able to go in there and actually take a few pictures with him. This is a very famous restaurant also. It's called Casa Casco because we're in Casco Viejo, as I said, old Panama. But as I was saying, there is a lot of history here in Casco Viejo. So many great things. I mean, just the architecture of the buildings, you know, it's really something that everybody always loves.
500 metros vamos a encontrar la catedral.
Okay, we're coming close to the cathedral now. Straight ahead.
Tiene el museo y
the cathedral and the museum.
Que fue donde fue escondido el oro que vino el pirata Morgan.
Yeah, and then there's a church, a very famous church, and there's a wall, an area where when Pirate Morgan came to Panama It's a place where you hid the gold. You know, hid gold. So we're coming close to that whole area.
Fue parte del oro que por Portobelo transitaron, que era el oro que se extraían de Perú.
This is the gold that was coming from Peru and it came through Portobelo, which is another part, a very famous part of Panama. Portobelo is where they have the Black Christ, El Cristo Negro, and a lot of people go and pray to that saint, the Black Saint. I remember my grandmother when we were younger. We would take that pilgrimage with her to Portobelo, but things have changed so much because back then there were no roads to get all the way up there. We took a bus and then we had to walk a long way to get to the church. But now it's different. I mean, there are roads, there are buses, there's all kinds of things taking you to the church. A lot of people believe so much in that saint, and they said he's very miraculous and has done so much for people. And I'm telling you, he has a large following, and he's called El Cristo Negro de Portobelo. He is not in Panama City. Again, he's in Portobelo. That's another area of Panama. And as I again emphasize, he's just a saint. There are 3 stories. I know there's one of the stories I remember growing up is that he wasn't really coming here. He was brought here. I think they were taking him to Spain. Lo estaban llevando a España. And he fell. And he fell, and then they tried to get him out of Panama, but he, they couldn't make it.
Y como en Portobelo, ninguno creía en nadie.
Right. There are a lot of stories about the Black Christ. Very powerful. They said he heals the sick and shut in.
Fue Cristo Negro porque obviamente pues allí eran personas de piel morena y fue la manera como él representarse para que creyeran y fue cuando esa enfermedad caducó allí. Esta es la catedral.
This is a cathedral. A couple years ago when I came with my girlfriend Teresa. I was able to listen to service here at the cathedral. Everything is closed now because it's evening. It's after 7, but I have to say that it's a beautiful, beautiful church. This is a very famous restaurant. It's called Marzola, and it's from Argentina. It's just beautiful. Everything is just pieces of, old Panama, and this is how the decorations in the restaurant is. Okay, we're still moving straight ahead. This is all still Casco Viejo. The structure of the buildings, everything, they were not and cannot change anything.
Esta es la compañía.
¿Qué es la compañía? ¿Qué es?
Es un museo viejo. ¿Cómo le explico? Que no me pierda y le diga realmente lo que
We're just moving straight ahead. We just passed a museum, and it's a very old museum and has a lot of pieces of old Panama.
Artesanías típicas. El sombrero, pues lo voy diciendo para irme acordando. El sombrero en teoría dicen que es de Ecuador, típico de Ecuador, y lo trajeron a Panamá. Pero cambia por ciertos detalles que le hacen.
The Panama hat, sí.
El Panama hat, exacto. Pero realmente viene de Ecuador.
Yeah, Panama hat apparently originated in Ecuador, and they just brought it, but it's certain things that make it different. When it came to Panama, they just added something to the hat, so it looks a little bit different. So that's what makes the difference, and it's called Panama hat.
Las placas típicas de Panamá que vienen muchos turistas y se la llevan y la
These are the license plate people that come from out of town. They love the license plate. They'll come and they'll take it and just purchase it and decorate them. But it's one of the things you find in Panama. License plate. That's a big thing. You know, people use it for decoration. So that's kind of the story. We're still in Casco Viejo or Casco Antiguo, and this building that you're looking at right here is the French Embassy. This is the French Embassy, this right here, and to my right is the Institute, the Culture of Culture, the National Institute of Culture. So this building here, there are a lot of different events that happen in here. It's just a great area. And if you look, you can see the statue that you see right here, Paula Rosemena. It's just interesting because growing up as a kid, the school that I went to, my grammar school, was at Paula Rosemena. This is the school that my mother went to also. It's by this gentleman's name, Paula Rosemena, and this is in Colon, where I come from. That's the school my brothers and I went to, Paula Rosemena. So that's it. This is a statue of Mr. Arosemena. It's just interesting to find it here in Panama. It's a great view. Just love everything that I'm seeing. I love coming out and making new discoveries and just looking at things in a different light with my daughter. There's so much that we have around us and we take for granted, and I think growing up here in this country and coming back has given me a better appreciation of where I come from. My family, we weren't wealthy at all, but things weren't that bad, as a lot of people would say. There are people who were much worse. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to have been fortunate enough to have been born in a time where things were really difficult, very, very difficult for a lot, but we were fortunate enough to have more than the average person. Grateful, very grateful. Casco Viejo. I'm just looking straight across and you can see the lights and the water. It's just beautiful. And there's Maya. The streets are very narrow, and then they're not made out of, you know, the actual tar. They have all this, the old working, take a look, all the brick. You know, this is how the streets were made back then. So, you know, the Conservancy group, that's one of the important things. They want to maintain the entire structure of old Panama, because this is history. This is history in the making, so it is important to maintain everything the way it is, for more reasons than one. We're walking to the French area. We just took a look at the French Embassy. So this area is basically the area where all the French men that came to Panama during the making of the Panama Canal. This is where a lot of their statues are housed, and with, you know, details about who they were and what they were about and what they came to do and what they did and what they didn't do and what they would have liked to have done. But I just think it's a great look, because they came in here first and they tried to put their stamp and mark, and they did. I remember living in the town that I live in, Colon, and Fort de Lesseps, Mr. de Lesseps, I remember
when you, growing up where I came from, when you went to a school, you know, that Fort de Lesseps, I mean, that was big. That was, you know, it meant a couple of things. It meant that you had arrived. It also meant that your family had a bit of stature in the country. But let's just take a look at the busts that are here and just kind of focus in, because they were also important in the Panamanian history, the making of the Panama Canal. They all had their importance, and a lot of streets are named after them as well because of their importance. So it's just great to come out and really take a look at this area in detail and see that in as much, oh, speaking of Mr. de Lesseps, that is just interesting because I'm standing right in front of his bust. And so this is Mr. de Lesseps, the story I told you earlier. And so a lot of the Frenchmen that came to Panama during that time, they came and they made their mark and made history, because this is what they did during that time. This is Pedro Sosa. Pedro Sosa was a civil engineer, and he was instrumental in the opening of the Interoceanic Canal, Panama Canal. So, you know, this is interesting. And that's who he is. And let's see who this other person is. Well, I told you who this is. This is Leon Boyce. And Mr. Boyce, this is a little bit not very clear, but as I said, everybody that has a bust out here, they were very instrumental in and during the time of the Panama Canal. And way in the back, you know, there are a lot of writings on the wall with sayings and different things that are also very important during that time, were very important and still relevant today. Still relevant. And it just speaks about the time and how things were then, and, you know, what they intended to do and what they did. So these are all makings of writings of what they had set out to do and how they came about to doing it. And it's step by step, because there's Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, and it goes on because there's just a whole bunch of different things that they wrote, which were instrumental in during that time, during the making of the Panama Canal. So they had to really make sure that things were in writing, and people were very clear as to what needed to be done and what was done. So I love that this is here for the world to see and for us to know what were the thoughts, what came into play when they were going through the processes of building the Panama Canal. So this is important right here. Mr. Finley, Carlos Finley, he was instrumental in helping yellow fever. When yellow fever was discovered, he was instrumental because if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the people who had a pretty significant role in the making sure that there was a cure. Yeah. So there's so much history, so many great men that came through this country of ours, Panama. Little piece of Panama, dead set in the middle of Central America, but still with a lot of history and powerful. I love that I'm from here. I love that my roots started here. Yep. Happy that I was a part of this beautiful country, and I still, you know, until today. You ask me where I'm from, and I'll tell you, I'm Panamanian, I'm Latina, I'm Afro-Latina.
you know, with that Caribbean mix, that mix. So I'm Afro-Latina, that's who I am. That's my makeup, proud of it. Stay close, don't go anywhere. There's so much to cover. Oh my God, it's a lot to cover, but you know, you guys are gonna enjoy it just like I am. Stay close. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video on location in my beautiful country, Central America, Panama. Stay close. Now this is a fabulous view. This is looking from another point of view. This, what you're looking straight ahead at, is that route that we took to get here. It's kind of like a circle. You circle all the way around, and that's called the coastway. I think that's what they call it. But it's just interesting how much of this country, how much has changed from the time I was a little girl growing up here. I'm just really in awe, honestly. But proud though, proud in a proud way to see how my beautiful Panama has evolved in a great way. Beautiful way. I mean, people so warm and friendly. Just love looking at all that they have done to improve my beautiful country. And people continue to come out with their families. I mean, this is one of the things that I continue to repeat. Panamanians are family. Latinos, this is what we do. We are family-oriented people. We believe in family, doing things with your family. It's important. Family is key. Always, always, always. So, it's evening and we're just looking at the view straight ahead. This is what we're doing. Just looking and documenting how the spectacular view from where I'm standing. This is all that way, the coastway that we circled to get here. It's kind of like a circle. Do you see that? It doesn't end there, but that's, you know, you see how it comes around in full circle. Look how far. Look how far it goes. Look, do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? It's a circle, but beautiful. It's beautiful. So walking straight ahead. I love the structure of the buildings from old Panama. It's just, it's meaningful. Everything means something. And this is why they continue to maintain it and not let anybody change the facade of the buildings. These little tents right here, this is where the indigenous people sell their costume jewelry, but it's in the evening, so everybody is gone. But we'll be back out again so you can see how they're masters of what they do, and they just do beautiful work. But we'll come back so you can see that before I leave, I promise. This is the costume jewelry, the people, the indigenous people from my country, this is what they make. They're just extremely talented. And this is not all. There's so much more to see. They continue to extend themselves. And this is what a native, ¿cómo está? This is what, ¿puedo tomar foto de su vestuario? Venga señora, párese aquí para tomar una foto de usted. Oh. This is, I was just looking at how they... Ah, ¿sí es la cosa? Sí. Ok. Yo vine temprano aquí, estuve temprano y compré.
No, ahorita compré, necesita plata, dice ella.
No, yo compré temprano. ¿Quieren que compre otra vez?
Ah, no puede. Ahorita nada más.
No, está bien. Si no quiere tomar foto, está bien. Está bien. These are the molas. This is what I spoke to you about. This, a lot of people purchase these and frame them. Yeah. And right over here where I'm walking towards, when Pirate Morgan came in And when the bombings started, this was the area where they stood for the bombings. And there's a little sign right here talking about what happened then. But this was the area where they stood and bombed. Isn't it interesting how so much has changed from then to now? But this remains the same in terms of where it is. It's Panama City again. Look at the buildings. Beautiful. All covered the top, and you walk through like if you're walking through a tunnel. I just love this. I love this. Everything is covered. You know, they have it covered, and they have the lighting that you straight ahead. You bring in closer, straight ahead, all covered. This is all in old Panama, Casco Viejo. There's a story about this building. This is the only building that is still made out of wood here in Casco Viejo. All the other buildings are made out of cement and concrete, but they have not been able to make the conversion with this building, and this is one of the staples here in Casco Viejo. Still sturdy, but made out of wood. You know, it's just interesting how you see the people. You know, people on their balconies just looking out. But I just love that everything is still the same. If you look inside, not I'm being a little bit forward, but you look inside people's homes and you see, look at the structure. Everything is still the same. Everything is still the same from the way it was way back when. You know, still made out of wood. But people continue to live and be happy with what they have. It's all about being happy with where you are and who you are and what you're all about. This is interesting. This is the Interoceanic Museum. There's a little bit of everything in Panama, people. I tell you. Everything is here. Everything. Just looking at the decorations here at the plaza. Quiero ver eso que dice Panamá. These are all the holiday decorations. This is our famous hotel, Novotel. Great service. This is where we've been staying since we got here. I love it. People are so accommodating. If you're ever looking for a place, this is where you can stay pretty safe. It's one of these boutique hotels. I love it. Our guide was fantastic. Thank you, Diana. Hey everybody, this is your girl Claudette. On this Christmas Eve night, just looking at the lights, this park is called Andres Bello, and apparently they do a lot of Christmas decorations during the holiday. It's just beautiful. I love how people are just out here also. This, again, common factor, common denominator for people from Panama. They come out with their families. I just love how they take the time to do all the lighting. It's just beautiful. Very typical. Looks like New York City also. It's just beautiful. Parque Andrés Bello. This is what it's called. That's what I was told. It's almost like a maze. Look at people just going through. I just love what they do here. We're just gonna get a little bit of footage. I guess people are just gearing up for Christmas, which is in a couple hours. Just hanging out with your families and friends. Stay close. We're gonna walk around a little bit. Still enjoying my beautiful Panama. I am here at the marina. This marina is called Marina Flamenco. It's beautiful. I'm looking out and all the boats, they're just docked. I mean, this is what people do. The life. Just love it. Just hanging out with my friend, connecting with my friend, my high school friend. Tere, saluda. This is my high school girlfriend, Teresa, and her daughter, Chari, and Maya. We're just hanging out here at the marina. We're gonna have lunch and just kind of look around a little bit and just enjoy the view. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There is a sign that says Panama. I want to be able to get a better view of it. Alright, Causeway again. Close to Amador. Look at the view, look at the ships. It's just a beautiful view. My country is beautiful. The sun is really piping. I'm trying to get behind the sun, but that's a little bit difficult. Beautiful way. That's Panama City. You're looking at across, and we're riding on the causeway.
El puente se construyó, creo, si mal no me equivoco, en el 45 sin naufragio.
Yeah, we're on the bridge. This is called Puente de las Américas. And we're heading to our next stop. I'm riding with Chadi and with my girl, Tere. Tere and I went to school together. We know each other for more than 30 years, more than 35 years. Kind of close to 40, but you know, don't tell anybody I told you that. But here we are. We just got off the bridge. We're heading to, where are we going, Tere? ¿Dónde vamos?
Veracruz.
We're going to Veracruz. That's another pretty great spot in Panama, and I'll be able to document a little bit more about that as well. As we continue to ride through, we're just looking at the traffic. Traffic is really in our favor. Chadi's a great driver. Say hello, Chadi.
Hi.
Chadi is Tere's daughter, her one and only, her princess. So here we are. We're just driving through, heading to our next stop. I'm so excited that I finally connected with Tere. Tere is my girl. She always looks out for me, and I really love her. So here we are. Stay close because there's much, much more to see. See you in a bit. This is still another side of the bridge. This is like under, just a great view. We're just coming under the bridge. Puente de las Américas.
Esta vía une todo, o sea, por eso se llama Puente de las Américas, porque la vía interamericana conecta hasta Nicaragua, hasta México.
This route that we're taking is the connecting route. It connects throughout Central America, connects to Nicaragua, all Central America going through this way. So if you were in Panama and you wanted to drive to Nicaragua, this would be the way for you to go. This is the connecting route to all Central America. Take a good look, guys, if you ever visit Panama and you want to go visit another Central American country. This would be the route. So here we are. Okay, everybody, we're back. We're in an area in Panama called Veracruz, and we're here to have lunch. It's one of the rural areas. I just love it. I love my country, and I hope you love it too. There's so much to see and so much to learn. I am learning as I go because there's so much of my country that I personally don't know. We're having lunch at this restaurant called, I'm not quite sure what it's called, but I just love the decor. Look at the tiles on the floor. Very rustic, but beautiful. Okay, let's just walk through. Here we are. There's a view of the ocean. Beautiful view. You can look straight across. But the tides are, there's not much to see, but just for you to take a look what it looks like. Here's Miss Maya. Here's Patty. And there's Teddy. They're all here. So we're gonna eat right now. Okay, I'm back. The name of the restaurant we're having lunch at in Veracruz is called Panorama. It's beautiful. So I'll tell you a little bit about the food once we start eating. But I just love it. It's a homey feeling. Take a look around. Very rustic. How well we can see this, but this is the Pacific Ocean. Take a look. One of the things that Panama is known for are the beautiful beaches and the waters. This is a body of water that is from Panama City, and this is the Pacific Ocean. Hopefully you can see some of it, but this is what it is. This is the view from the restaurant. We're just sitting, getting ready to have something to eat. Very rustic, like I said, but the food is delicious, I hear. So we're just gonna enjoy. Look, people are still enjoying Christmas. That's what they're doing. And let me just walk over to my table now where we're going to be sitting. That's where I'm at. Hello everybody, this is Claudette. I'm back, and we are standing dead set in the middle of the park where in 1903 Panama received its independence from Colombia. Yes, Panama belonged to Colombia in 1903, and this is where the independence was declared, right here in this park. This park is in Casco Antiguo, and it's close to the presidency. So this is where the independence was declared, where Panama was separated from Colombia in 1903. Take a look. Take a look. This is history. There is a bust of Mr. Federico Boyd. He's a very famous person here in this country, well known. So this is the park. This is the Independence, Plaza de la Independencia, Parque de la Plaza de la Independencia.
Y esta es la iglesia.
And this is the church.
Santa María la Antigua.
Santa María la Antigua.
Acaba de ser remozada, la remozaron hace un trabajo hace como 2 años.
They're doing some work on it right now, maybe about 2 years ago. But
ahora, el otro mes que la están reinaugurando, van a estrenar incluso las 4 campanas. Creo que escuché que son 4 campanas nuevas totalmente.
Okay. ¿En 2 años dices?
No.
Next month. El otro mes. Next month they're going to reopen the church. The church is currently closed, but they're going to reopen this church. And there are 4 bells, so we imagine all 4 bells will be ringing. Here's 1 bell.
Estos son edificios del 1800.
All these buildings are buildings from the 1800s. So there's history. There's so many buildings. Take a look. This building right here it's called Hotel Central Hotel. And they've done some remodeling in this hotel also, and this is also from the 1800s. So this is history. Just walk with me. I have my girlfriend Teresa, who is also a historian, so she's filling me in because there's so much of the history of the country that she knows better than I do. So that's her voice you hear, and I'm just translating back to English because it's important to know the history of one's country. So walk with me. Let's take another look at the church. Here's the church. So next month they're going to reopen. And look at the bell. There are 4 bells. This is just beautiful. So we're circling the park. This is what we're doing now. And this is the municipal building. Municipal Palace.
Este es el Palacio Municipal. Ese edificio fue inaugurado en 1910.
This was opened in 1910. So again, most of the buildings here are from the 1800s and early 1900s. So this is the Municipal Palace right here.
Esta es la plaza donde se dio a conocer la independencia de Panamá.
So this is where precisely this opening right here is where Panama, the independence of Panama was from Colombia was known. This is where it was announced right here in this park.
Aquel edificio que está allá es el Museo del Canal.
The gray building that you see to the far left, I'm going to bring that in. That's the Panama Canal Museum. We're going to go there. We're going to take a look because there is a lot of history, and they're also all related to the early years of the Panama Canal and all the things that were and all the changes that came about from the making of the Panama Canal till today. Straight ahead, these are the streets here in Casco Antiguo. The streets are super narrow, but this is all intentional because back then in the 1800s, there weren't many cars and it wasn't transited the way that it is today. So take a look. I guess there were horse and buggies back then. So this is what people used back in the 1800s. All these buildings are, this area, as I told you a couple tapings ago, they have preserved this area. This area is preserved, and it's preserved because there is history here contained. So the intention is to keep everything intact the way it is. So this is all history. Municipal Palace, another look. It's a circle. Straight, going right around. This sculpture that you're looking right here, this is in the Municipal Palace. And looking at it, let's bring it in a little bit more. And this was a gift from the Italian artist Enrico Bliaga, and this symbolizes the Republic of Panama. That's what it symbolizes. So this is a beautiful piece. This was given to Panama, and it's been sitting here for many, many years. Another look at the narrow, how narrow the streets were back then, and they were all, it's just really impressive how the paving they maintain, they try to just keep and preserve all the pavings from the 1800s and early 1900s. I just find it fascinating. Here's Maya and Caddy walking, they're having a conversation. And here's my girlfriend Teresa, who's also walking along. And this is an area that's very transitive. People from all over the world come because there's so many histories, and not only that, but there's so many stories that are in the makeup of Casco Antiguo.
Acá en Casco Antiguo hay muchos restos, hay muchos lo que queda ruinas. Que eran museos, era uno de los lugares más pequeños donde había más iglesias.
Casco Antiguo is known for
there are a lot of ruins still remaining. There were a lot of churches, and the remains, they just try to sort of build around it, but they try to preserve. They try to preserve the churches. There were so many, and it's just an area that's rich in culture, and it's just important to preserve. This street is called Calle Santos Jote. So we're just walking through this street now. Let's take a look. Look at the buildings. Look at the structure of the building. I just find it fascinating. It is fascinating to me. Again, this is one of the famous churches here that was preserved. And if you look, all the original pavement, everything is the same as it was back in the 1800s. It's all about preserving and protecting. So this is the ruins from, the church that once was. And it's a site that so many people come and visit because of the importance that it has to this area. So this building right here is what's left of a Jesuit convent. Here's a little bit of history, because there were many convents here also. Again, this area was filled with churches and therefore convents, because it had to have an area to host the priests and the nuns, and vice versa. The building that we're looking at straight ahead was the very first University of Panama. This is where it all began in terms of education. So this was the first building. Of course, there are many, many more universities that exist now, but this was the very first building here in Casco Antiguo. Okay, we're entering Iglesia San Jose, and there's a lot of history. This is one of the churches that has the altar made of gold. And there's a story behind it, but let's just go in so we can learn a little bit more about what transpired here in the early 1800s. Follow me. So we've entered Iglesia San Jose. If you take a look at the altar straight ahead, the altar is made of gold. Back in the 1800s, when pirates, they would go from port to port to steal gold. Panama, what they did, this altar was located in another area, and what they did, in order to hide the gold from Pirate Morgan, they covered it with mud. So when he got here and was looking for gold, he wasn't able to find it. So the altar was completely covered. So when Panama was relocated to this area of the city, then they cleaned it, and this is the altar. So this is the altar of gold that Pirate Morgan tried to take over, but they hid from him here at Iglesia San Jose. It's one of the famous churches here in Panama City, well known because of the altar. We're going to walk straight ahead so we can get a better view of the altar, of all its beauty. Again, this is the area where all the churches here in Casco Viejo, where the churches were. So just take a look at the altar in all its splendor. Can you imagine having to hide something from someone who comes to steal, and being so smart enough to just cover it in a way that even the thief wouldn't even discover that it was gold? So that's what they did. Beautiful, isn't it? This is called the altar of gold. Look at that. Take a look.
It's just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. We're entering an area where there is an exhibition related to the birth of Christ. So we're going to go in and take a look. There's so much history in here, and they've maintained this over the years and continue to preserve it. Just take a look of the detail of the altar. Did you see that? Can you imagine? Can you imagine having to cover all this in mud to hide it from the pirate, especially Pirate Morgan? That must have been something. Now, if this is not the biggest nativity scene you've ever seen, then I don't know what is. This is a not reenactment, but they've rebuilt the whole nativity scene. Take a look at that. Can you imagine the time that it took to do something like this? The entire nativity scene. Must have been something, just thinking, way back when, how people thought and how they lived. Take a look. Imagine living during these times, during the birth of Jesus Christ. Wow. Just a thought gives me chills. Here he is, right in the manger. Wow. The birth of Jesus Christ. Now, if you want to see a picture of Pirate Morgan, the one who caused so many problems here in Panama, you can see him. Here he is, still hanging out in Panama, trying to figure out what he could steal. And trying to steal the gold that's on at the church, here in the church. Here he is, Pirate Morgan. He continues to wander in Panama. This is called Paseo Esteban Huertas. And this is, Mr. Esteban Huertas was the general who supported Panama during the separation from Colombia. From 1944 to 1946. The area is known for all the indigenous people who are selling their various items that, believe it or not, most of them are made by hand. Take a look at the things that they do. It's just beautiful. The bags, the molas. Beautiful bags, all the different designs. All the vendors. Now this is the typical costume during the carnival. And this is un diablito sucio from an area called Azuero. This is a costume that they wear during the carnival season. A little bit scary, right? But funny. This is what it looks like. Pretty cool. I remember growing up and seeing this. Absolutely cool. We were terrified then, but this was part of the culture. Hello everybody. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video. And I am still in my beautiful country, Panama. So we are heading to one of the famous beaches. It's called Playa Langosta. I have my cousin Patsy with me. She's driving. Say hey, Patsy.
Hello, hello.
And Maya's in the back also. So we're heading to the beach. When you come to Panama, it is important for you to visit the beaches. The water is just crystal clear. It's called Playa Langosta. So we're driving to the beach. I'm super excited. My trip is nearing the end, but you know what? I am so excited that I was able to do this with my daughter. Come and visit my country and learn so much about my country. I still have so much to see because we have to go to my grammar school and we have to go also to the high school that I went to. So we still have some more to cover, but in the meantime, we're just driving, heading to the beach. Playa Langosta, stay close. There's much more to come. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video. Okay, everybody, we've arrived to our destination, Playa Langosta. Take a look and follow me. Everybody is doing what we're doing. They're walking in. These are all the people visiting. It's a very famous beach. When you come to Panama, you must visit Playa Langosta. And this is what we're doing. We're gonna take a dip in the water. This is, as we continue on in, we're in the premises of Playa Langosta. I remember as a child, probably came to this beach maybe twice or three times. Growing up, there would always be picnics. People would have picnics to Playa Langosta, and I know that I came with my mother and my brothers. I can't swim. You would think coming from a country like Panama, I would know how to swim, but I don't. And the reason why I don't know how to swim is because growing up as a child, I almost drowned, but that's a story for another day. So we're here. People are doing exactly what we're doing, getting themselves ready to head out and have a blast. So this is Maya's introduction to one of the beaches of Panama, Playa Langosta. Stay close, we'll have some more footage as we go. Hey everybody, we're here. Take a look at this beautiful beach. It's called Playa Langosta. One of the things that I love about my country are the beaches. Look at the sand. Look at the sand. The beaches are just beautiful. You look at the water, it's just crystal clear. I just love it. I'm walking into the water just to get my feet wet. Remember, I told you guys I can't swim, but I just love being able to come here. I thank my cousin. It's drizzling a little bit, but it's okay. That never stopped anybody from doing what they have to do. And this is one of the beautiful beaches of Panama, Playa Langosta. So take a look. Enjoy the view. We have the little sheds where people normally come with their families and just hang out. It's my cousin Patricia and Maya. They're waiting to go in the water. This is great. Okay, watch me just walking and take a quick dip. Actually just walk because I can't swim. So just watch me. Here. Is it on? The red button? Go in more the water! Go more! Go more! More, go in more! Walk a little bit more. I don't know when she got like this.
Go ahead and go a little more forward. Go a little more forward. Scared of the waves. That's all. So I got my feet wet, not too much, but something. So I'm gonna film a little more. Hey, Maya and my cousin Patricia, they're going in for a quick dip. So I figure I'll go first since I have the camera. All right, Maya, so you're at the beach like you wanted to. Beautiful Panama, Playa Langosta. They're waving. As you can see, everybody is just in the water, having a grand time. One of the things I love about these beaches here in Panama, it's always a family affair, always, always. If you look further out, there are a couple of, you see way back there? You know, there's so many different islands that you can look at. The sun is in my face. Hello everybody, there you have it. That concludes my visit to the beautiful Playa Langosta. Just got my swim on with my daughter Maya and my cousin Patsy. Say hey, Patsy.
Hey, hi, hello to everybody.
Maya, say hi. Say hi, Maya. Hi.
Hello.
So there you have it. That concludes our time here at Playa Langosta. Stay close because there's much, much more to see. Thank you for watching. Love you guys to pieces. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video in Panama. Yeah, you heard me. Panama, Central America. See you soon. This concludes our trip to Playa Langosta. Bye, Playa Langosta. Until next time. Now we're heading to see other places. We are heading to where I grew up, the town where I grew up. That's going to happen later on today. So we're just traveling back to my cousin's home. Where is it, Patsy? You are in Anap. We're heading back to Barriada Anap. This is where my cousin Patsy lives. So that's where we're going to get ourselves showered and cleaned up and to head back out to explore some more. So stay with me, continue to watch while I take my beautiful experience here in my country, the country that saw me from my early beginnings, my home, Panama. Love you guys to pieces. Okay, everybody, this is another part of Panama, actually more on the coast. This is called Maria Chiquita. So this is one of the first communities that were built. I remember this place when it was built. This kind of was the big thing when the houses started going up here. It's a very tight-knit community, and you know, people would relocate from the outer cities to Maria Chiquita, and then they started building all the different barriadas. This is what they call
the areas where people settle. So people started moving out of the city and moving into barriadas and the houses. But these have been around for a long time. So, you know, I mean, I guess the wear and tear and everything else is not as when they first got here, of course. And we're talking years and years and years. This was here before I left Panama, which is here 38, 39 years, so this is a long time. So it's just interesting to see how people, some of the upkeep, some people have been able to really keep up with their properties and other people have not, you know. It's unfortunate, but then again, living in a country, a tropical country with, you know, the weather, it's just hard, the wear and tear, but, you know, it's just beautiful to come back and see that this is still around and people are doing what's necessary to survive. So much history in my beautiful country. There's so much history in Panama. You know, my early days, I remember growing up and being carefree, running everywhere, all around, and not having a worry in the world. That's what I remember. There's so much to be said about that in terms of, you know, childhood and just really not knowing what's out there and just knowing that you had to just go to school, get good grades, come home, meals were prepared, clothes were clean. That's the kind of, you know, that's the kind of environment we grew up in. That's great. And straight ahead, that's one of the hotels. I don't know if you can see it. It's that tall building straight ahead. Let me just zoom in. Hopefully you can see it. Probably not, because there are trees covering it. But that's one of the hotels in this area. So if someone were to come and wanted to stay, instead of staying in Panama City or staying in another province, they could actually stay, you know, right here in the border. And they'll be at this hotel. What is the name of this hotel, Patsy? No, I don't know. Okay, well, I don't know the name, but I just think it's great that they have the option to do that and not have to go to Panama City. And look at the ocean. It's just great. Panama is filled with beaches and oceans and everything else. We're surrounded by water. You know, that is one of the beautiful things about this country. We're surrounded by water. It's so much to see. Okay, we are heading to Colón. This is the city where I'm from. This is my final stop on this neck of the woods. Just to visit my home, high school, visit my grade school, visit the church where I took my first communion. Just want to see a few places that are important to me. So continue to ride with me on the highway heading to Colón. That's what we're doing now. So please enjoy the ride and continue to watch. Okay, so we're here. We're entering the town where I'm from, Colón. Beautiful Colón. Free zone. This is the part of the free zone to my right. Those are the buildings. Panama Port. Panama, the Port Authority. So this is to my left. You see that? And we're just driving through the streets in Panama, in Colón. This is the town that I'm from. This is Zona Libre. This is the free zone. And so we're in Colón. This is where I'm from. Look at all these buildings. They're still here. I remember growing up and seeing these. Of course, they were pristine during that time. But I think this place has been here for as long as I'm alive. This place right here, the auto repair shop. But so much has changed and so much is still the same, but you know, it's just great to be back and to see all these things. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, this used to be a dance hall right here, and I remember many years ago. I remember there was this accident many years ago. This girl that we knew died trampled. There was, you know, a fight broke out and everybody was trying to get out, and she died. This is what I remember about that place. So this is just looking here. Let's see, to my left, I don't know, I'm just looking at the building. This avenue is called Central, right?
Yes.
Avenida Central. So this is where we are here, just driving through, just taking a look at this area. It's so different now. Some of the buildings are still here. So good to see that they're still here, and you know, it's so good to be back. It's a good feeling to be home and to go through places that, you know, the streets at least. I mean, so much is not as familiar to me, having been living here for such a long time. I mean, so much has changed, but there's so much that is still the same in terms of the avenue. This is Central Avenue, so that's still the same. And the yellow cabs doing what they do, trying to get their passengers and to move along to get the fares. But just a good feeling. So we're just driving along. What's this building to my right, Patsy?
The cable and wireless.
Okay, so this is the wireless cable, the cable and wireless building here to my right. This obviously wasn't here. I don't know how long it's been here, but that's something new. And then the buildings are so I understand that they're doing some work on this city. I hope so. This was such a beautiful city growing up. I really loved living here, but so much has changed and just need some work. Just need to work on the city and fix some things. So right along with me, I remember there used to be a store. Vanidades used to be where? Right over there?
No, Vanidades
further up. There's a store that was like the in-store. Everybody went to the store to purchase what they needed. And I noticed that it's no longer here. Now I think it's on the highway.
In Bolivar Street.
Oh, okay. They moved. They're not here on Central. Were they ever on Central? Were they ever? They were always on Bolivar?
Yes, the mall was in Bolivar.
Okay, I don't know why I was thinking that it was on Avenida Central.
Bolivar Street.
But we're nearing the church where I took my first communion. Can you imagine? Maya, you're gonna see the church where I took my first communion. Me and your Uncle Rogelio, this is where we took our first communion. When we get closer, I'll show you. It's gonna be to my right.
Yes, you can take a picture right in the car. You know,
Yeah, we'll just drive along. I'm not gonna come out. Just cruising. All these buildings are still here. What is the name of that building right over there, straight ahead? That one, yeah.
Where the Panaderia Garcia used to be.
Oh, this
Panaderia Garcia still there.
This building that you see straight ahead. There was this great bakery. Everybody came here.
It's still there.
You would get in the morning. People would line up because you would get the bread would be freshly made and hot, and you could get your bread for breakfast. People would come out here and line up for the bread. I remember. You know, that was one of the highlights of my childhood. There's this bread that they call pan micha. Yeah, pan micha. I love that. And you had that, oh my God, you didn't need to put anything on it. You just had it with butter and it just melted in your mouth. That's one of my memories from this bakery right here. So,
Dime.
all right, so this is the building for the bakery here. I remember coming here to Panaderia Garcia. If you can see that, this is where people would come and get hot bread. This is where you came if you wanted bread. And this straight ahead right here, this is the market.
They're remodeling.
Market. They're remodeling this area, but I remember coming out here. My mom would have me come out here on Saturdays to pick up her tickets.
Yes, right, dear.
Yeah, she would have me, buy the lottery. This is what you came out here and do on Saturdays. So this is still the same. They're just doing some work, but
It's St. Joseph's Church.
and so we're coming up. This church to my right. Just slow down a little bit, Patsy. This is St. Joseph's Church that is right ahead.
Right here.
This is where that church right to my right. This is a church where my brother and I, we took our first communion, our sacrament, and this is where we were baptized also, St. Joseph Church. This is the church where I was baptized, and I took my first communion, St. Joseph. My grandmother belonged to the church.
Wilcox.
And this is a Wilcox. This was a very, very old building, but, a staple in the city. They're remodeling this building. But this has been here for as long as I'm alive, and they're remodeling because I guess they're trying to save the structure and keep it. But it's been through so much, so many buildings here. So much has changed. The city obviously needs a complete makeover, but they're working on it. I'm happy to know that they're working on making things better. And this park over here, as a child, I remember coming out here. This was beautiful when I was a little girl. You come out here and you ran through the park, and it was just fun. This is what you did. You just had fun. We didn't have any computers or anything like that. We just had ourselves to play with. And so this is what we did. We just came up and played in the park. This building over here, Patsy, I remember.
This is that church. Uso de tempo Calvario no name servimos para vivir.
Yeah, and this over there to my left.
Rey.
Princesa.
Princesa.
This
Right
is
here.
Novedades Princesa.
Yes,
Is it
right
still
here.
there?
That's
To my far left, the store right here. I remember coming here. My grandmother was a seamstress also, and she would make, people would come to her and she would send us, because that's the thing that she did. She would send us out to pick up things for her at the store, and she would buy the buttons because she had a machine that made buttons, and we all learned to make buttons, covered buttons, that is.
You don't know to do none of that.
So this is where we're going now, Patsy.
By Casa del Suéter.
Oh, okay, so I'm going to, there's this place that I need to pick up something, so we're gonna go and see if I can get it. And what's this to my left? Iglesia
It's a
Internacional.
church.
This is an evangelical church.
Yeah.
All right, Casa del Suéter. So this is where I'm going. I have something to get here. So,
Come near that so you can't come off. Look, I say you can't come off.
okay, so walk with, okay, so now we're heading to where I went to high school. This is Colegio José Guardia Vega, and this avenue is called
Academia Santa Maria. St. Mary?
No, Santa Teresita,
No,
isn't it?
St. Mary.
Oh, okay. All right. Here's another school. Not familiar with it, but it's Academia St. Mary. St. Mary's, but we're just driving through. I know.
You see him still in there? Yeah. Open the window, make him hold.
Okay, what church is this, Patsy?
I remember.
This is a church. Church of Our Lady of the Miraculous something.
Him come out? No. I will clarify, make him hold.
We're getting close to the place where I went to high school. So, where we went to high school. So it's called Colegio José Guardia Vega, and this is where I spend most of my affirmative years. So
right there.
This is all this area. Remember, that's it?
That's Guardia Vega.
All right, how do we get to the front? We're going to get to the front?
The front is the other
Okay,
side.
so this is the school that I went to my left. This is where I went to high school. Colegio Jose Guardia Vega.
I'm going to try to go the other
Yeah.
side and see if I can
Okay,
get
this is the auditorium. This is the auditorium. So we're going to try to circle back to get the front of the school. This is the auditorium. So we're going to circle back to get the other side of the school, but there's so many memories embedded in these walls. So many laughs, so many days we laughed so much. It was always a lot of fun. I have to say, I had great days here coming to school. It was a great experience. And I was fortunate to have great teachers too. This is the front of the school. Slow down a bit, Patsy, please. All right, this is the front of the school. I gotta come out to get that. All right, so this is it. This is the name, Colegio Jose Guardia Vega. This is where I went to high school. You know? Yeah, this is just near and dear to me. Just seeing that the building is still here, and I gotta get out. Yeah. It's great. I want to take a closer look. Remember walking through these hallways. Wow. So many years. I have not been here in near 40 years. That's a long time. Oh my God. My school, my high school. It's just a beautiful school when I was growing up. Just loved every bit of it. All the benches. I remember coming out here during recess and just sitting on the benches. This is what we did. We'll just sit on the benches and just have fun. This is just great. I'm just happy to see that it's still around. Just needs some TLC, but it's still here. I'm glad it's here. I spent a lot of fun years here in my high school. Excited that it's still here. This is a new park. I understand it's called Parque Marino. This was just developed, and so this is right by my old school. I love that they did something with all this land. I remember when I was in school, this was just empty and was just the water, and we would come out here, me and the girls from school, we would come out after classes and just sit here. This is what we did. We just sat over here where all these things are now new. But this was just an empty green space. And we would come out here and sit and just talk, girl talk. This is what we did when I was in high school. I love that they have used it to create something that is great and everybody can use. Makes me happy. There's Maya walking ahead. Okay, we can walk back. It's okay. Let's walk. Let's walk. We'll walk back. This is great. I like what they've done. What's straight ahead, Patsy? What is that? What are those things? Yeah. Oh, okay.
That is Rufo Garay.
Okay, this is another school. This is Rufo Agaray. This is where my cousin went to school. Patsy, she went to school to this high school. This is where she went. Evergreen. That looks like a ship. Yeah, it is a container ship. It looks straight ahead. See? Evergreen. Ship probably just is coming in or leaving. I don't know. But This is basically it. I love what they've done through Fuagaray. All this is filled and it's beautiful to see that it has been used for something that is great. So many days I spent here in this area. Thought that I would come back one day just to document where my roots were embedded. So now we're heading to where I went to grammar school. That's Paula Rosemena. I went to school at Paula Rosemena, and I don't think they do that anymore, but I was skipped twice when I went to school here. This is way back when, 100 years ago. Just kidding, not 100, but it's a while. But we're coming close to where I went to school. I was fortunate to have had a dad during the time that my brothers were going to school, and when they would come home with their work, I really wanted to learn what they were doing, and my dad would also teach me. And so when I was ready to go to school, I didn't fit in the grade where they wanted to put me in, and because I was advanced. And this is the reason why I ended up being in a higher grade, because of me being ahead in terms of what I knew. And so that's what happened, fortunate. And this is
Paraguay.
Escuela Paraguay. This is also a grammar school. This right here, Escuela Paraguay. This is another grammar school.
And here's the library.
And this is a library, I was just told. So as I was saying, I was fortunate to have been advanced. And so I know that they don't do that anymore. We're just driving towards my school. I was fortunate to have been advanced and therefore was skipped a few grades. So that was that story. So I am just driving down this school here. Oh, it's a one-way. To my left. To my left, if you see it says Escuela Paula Rosemena. This is where I went to grammar school, and funny enough, but this is a school my mom went to too. This was my mom's grammar school. This is where I went to grammar school when I was a little kid.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is when I was a little kid. This is where I went to school. Love that it's still here. And this avenue is called Bolivar. So this was one of the famous avenues, and all the stores. They had so many stores on this avenue, and it was just great growing up here in the 70s and, being a child in this town. Those were great, great times. So many memories. So many memories. This building here, it's a famous building. It's the Maison Blanche. A lot of memories of my childhood were spent in this building. It looks like they're doing reconstruction also. I'm glad that they're kind of rebuilding it, I think. I'm not sure. But it's just a shell right now. But I remember this building.
Gobernación.
And this is this is another government. This is a government building right here to my left. Right here. This is what this building is. This is also another important. And this building to my right, this other building here that you're looking at. This building is called 18. This is why it's called 18. But they had a bodega. They had a liquor store downstairs, and that's why it was called that. But I remember also spending time here because we had friends that lived on this building
Seguro Social
as well.
Seguro Social Building.
And this is the Social Security building straight ahead. The Social Security building is straight ahead.
Good.
And that's the
Remodeler governor.
This is remodeled right here, but growing up as a child, this was completely different. I remember, you know, passing this building as a child back and forth. So this is part of my makeup. This is part of who I am. And if you see straight ahead, you know, there's so much that is still the same, but still different. So many things that have changed, but are still the same. So this building right here, it's one of the famous buildings. I remember as a child, there was this teacher, Miss Doreen, and we did summer school with her here, and we would come here, my brothers and I. This were where we took all our summer classes, and this building is called Colon Import. I remember this because my uncle used to work downstairs, my uncle, my mother's brother, and we would come here. It was always fun. These are fun memories. This is what I remember about this building. But we had a teacher, Miss Doreen. She lived upstairs and she taught summer classes, so we did all our summer classes here. Ahead, this building that you see here, this used to be a famous bar. I remember as a child, you would pass this bar and you would see all kinds of stuff happening here, and this is called San Susi. But I understand it's no longer a bar, it's a church. So that's really interesting to know that, you know, a place of, you know, where drinking and dancing occurred now is a place of worship. That's kind of good. I kind of like that. So this is what this is. I love that.
Esta iglesia está consagrada, se han hecho bodas, bautizos. Si observa, el trabajo de la madera es totalmente tallado a mano. Observamos el confesionario, la pila bautismal, la vía crucis y los diferentes santos.
Well, we're finally in the church, which is a replica of the original church. But this church, there have been several weddings here. We've had several weddings here, baptisms, so many different sacraments. And this church is of great importance. If you look at the altar was handmade. Look at the details on the altar. And not only that, but a lot of saints are hosted. This is Cristo Negro de Portobelo, del Nazareno. This is a very important staple here in the country. And this is celebrated October 21st of every year. And there is a story behind this saint also. My grandmother was a devoted follower of Jesus de Nazareno. So let's just follow Nettie as she continues to show us all the details. Take a look at all the details of the church. There's so many details that are worth seeing. And not only that, but just to think that this is just a replica and not the original says a lot about how important it is.
Representa la casa cural o la del padre. Con su patio interior observamos el comedor del cura, muebles originales de caoba.
Okay, this area is the area that represents where the pastor, the preacher, the priest. This is the area that was sort of assigned to the priest. If you look, this area back here is the area. Again, this is a replica. This is the area where he ate. You know, people that were in charge here. The priest that was in charge, this was his area where he ate. So this is a replica of his dining area.
Acá está el dormitorio.
And we're going to take a look at his bedroom and the living area, the living quarters. So this was his bedroom. This was the bedroom. Again, this is a replica, but it's just interesting because this, ¿cuántos años diríamos?
Ok, acuérdese que estamos hablando de réplica.
De la réplica, pero el original.
Un pueblo del interior de 1520.
Well, this is from the 1500s. Just keep in mind that this is a replica of what it used to be in the 1500s. So take a look at this. This would be the bed, this would be the setup.
Lo que sería el mismo pueblito en sí.
Yeah, for that particular town.
Aquí entonces nada más sería ya la réplica, pero ya también un poquitito más moderno, ya poco a poco, claro.
And this would be the dining area. This would be the area where they would have their meals. See, this is a great depiction. Imagine from the 1500s. Just think about it. The 1500s. This is something else.
Parece que estamos hablando de las influencias españolas.
Yeah, and just really keep in mind that this is all influenced by the Spaniards. We've come across, this is a barber shop. This is a replica of what the barber shop looked like back then.
Pero también se dice de que el barbero hacía la función de dentista en aquel entonces.
Well, so you know, just very interesting, something that I was told, that the barber not only was the barber of the town, but he was also a dentist. So if you came to the barber and you had a toothache, he was able to also take that tooth out as well. Not amazing? So this office or this area would be the place where all the business is conducted, legal business, government business. So this is what it looked like back then.
Vamos también entonces la representación del águila arpía, que es el ave nacional de Panamá.
The águila, that's one of the symbols, one of the staples for Panama. This is what is represented, and not only that, but it's an important part of our history.
Qué bien que tienen la foto de la tía Mayín. Es que todo esto se creó bajo cuando Mayín Correa era alcaldesa de la ciudad de Panamá.
Yo me acuerdo Mayín Correa, sí. Interesante.
Se creó
Just taking a quick picture of the building, just of the setup, the buildings. I just find it fascinating that these are replicas from the 1500s. Imagine living in that time. Just imagine. Okay.
Acá entonces hablamos ya la época de la construcción del ferrocarril, cuando empezaron a llegar las primeras líneas de comunicación, el telégrafo también, como la clave Morse. Observamos los teléfonos tanto de mesa como las de pared, una radio, los clasificadores.
This room is a depiction of what the forms of communication we have back then, the telegraph, everything that was used back then as a form of communication. Look at the radio. I think I saw a radio like that in somebody's house way back when, but just imagine, you know, back then we didn't have any cell phones, people. There was none of that. You know. Casa de quincha.
Casa de quincha para nosotros o para panameños sería de cómo está construida la vivienda. Si observa, aquí se acerca, usted va a ver el material que fue utilizado: barro, paja y agua. Entonces se le llama junta de embarre, donde todo el pueblo participa en esta junta. Se arma lo que es el material para luego entonces con los pies los varones se van como si estuvieran abrazando o agarrando y ellos van pisando, como amasando. En vez con las manos son con los pies, van amasando esa mezcla para luego entonces ponerlas como la pared.
Well, this is interesting, and I hope I can translate the way she said it. This area here is a depiction of how the house is the inside of each house. But what's interesting is how it was made. It's la casa de quincha, and this was formed by the male in the city or the town. They would all come together, and they would just kind of like the mud. They would stomp on the mud and they would sort of, make a certain pace. And this is what they use to make their walls and to sort of, do everything that needed to be done in their houses. But this is a typical house of back then.
El catre. Nosotros teníamos un tío que tenía casa en tablas abajo, tablas arriba. Y la casa era así. Cuando íbamos para el carnaval.
Sí,
y el techo, los murciélagos. Nadie quería dormir en el catre. Yo dormí en el carro. ¿Qué va?
Mire, esto le llamamos totuma.
Totuma.
sale de un árbol que se llama calabazo.
This is what she's holding. It's called totuma, and it comes from a tree called calabazo. And this is where this is made from.
Y se utiliza, bueno, para tomar.
And back then this was used for drinking.
También se puede hacerle diseños.
And you can make designs on it.
Decorativo.
And I imagine this is what they use for eating also.
Musicales.
And all the musical instrument, all was made from that tree.
Tenemos aquí la tinaja para mantener el agua bien fresca.
This is called tinaja, and this is where they kept the water fresh. This is what they did.
Estamos observando que todavía hoy en día la gente del interior, la del campo, utiliza todos estos implementos que están observando. Y de igual forma en los diferentes grupos indígenas también se utilizan las totumas para ir al río, para ir a bañarse, para tomar la chicha fuerte.
Even today, the indigenous community in a lot of the provinces in the outskirts, they still utilize everything that we see here because it's part of their heritage. And this totuma right here, this maintains the water completely fresh. So this is what they utilize. Y esto aquí, que no me dijiste, esto aquí es para
el arroz,
el pilón. This is called pilón, and this is what they use for rice.
Okay. Cuando no habían llegado todavía lo que es la máquina de moler, entonces se utiliza ya esto, el pilón, y hay otro que se llama mortero.
Yeah, this is called pilón, and this is what they use to kind of do the rice, like just kind of, I think, blend it and just put it together. This is what they use. It's called pilón. And to take the shell off the rice, pilón. This is what this is.
Acá entonces una cocina con el horno para el pan. Bueno, a esto se le llama tinajero.
I don't know what's the translation in English, but this is a tinajero.
La vitrina.
Now, this is like a china closet. This is what they used back then and still today. And this is where they kept all their dishes. Their cups. Yeah, they kept their cups. They kept everything that was necessary. And this is the oven where they bake their breads. Fascinating.
Este es otro tipo de, más rústico también, para moler. ¿Cuántas uñas no se habrán quebrado aquí?
Pero sabes que en ese entonces no tenían uñas, no tenían esmalte de uñas ni nada. This what we're looking at here is what they also use for cooking. They use it for a lot of different things. But can you imagine back then, people with long nails? Impossible.
Yeah, porque esto es piedra. Esto es piedra.
It's made out of stone. Take a look at that. Wow. This is fascinating.
El fogón donde se preparan las comidas típicas como el sancocho, los tamales, la tortilla.
And so this that you're watching here, that was the oven I showed you, but this here is another form that they use to cook, and they would make tamales, which is a very typical dish here in Panama. So they would do all kind of things like sancocho, which is a mixture of, it's kind of like a soupy dish, and it has chicken, beef, it has a lot of different meats. And so all this would be prepared here on this stove.
Y las lámparas.
And the lanterns. Oh, I remember these. So these would be utilized as well.
Llegaban todas las maripositas, todos los bichitos, todas las mariquitas, todos llegaban ahí cuando se encendían las lámparas.
This is fascinating, people.
Okay. Y bueno, los implementos que se utilizan, ¿no? Todo también aquí.
Everything that was needed for cooking, everything that you needed. Remember, this is their kitchen. This is what, everything that you would find in the kitchen. These were all made out of mud. Imagine, all made out of mud, and they worked. We didn't need water for crystals. We didn't need any of that back then.
Mire, entonces ya lo que se le coloca al caballo para protegerle la piel, porque hay otro que es la montura, y eso entonces sí es para la persona. Eso para la carga. El zurrón también para poner los granos.
So what you're looking at here is what they utilized back then, that they put on the horse, not for mounting, but to carry load. This was to make I guess to alleviate the load on the horse and just kind
Esto
of,
para marcar las reses.
and then right here, this is what they used back then to brand the cows.
Acerca para que salen las totumitas.
Okay, so this tree right here, remember I told you about the calabazo, about the utensils they use for cooking? Let's just focus in right here. I told you about the calabazo. So this is a calabazo, and this is the tree where those came from. That's where it comes from. This tree right here.
Y atrás se ve la letrina o el servicio de guardia.
And so back in here, if you can see, we're going to walk out here because we're going to see where they went out and did their business. Latrine. So this is what it looked like back then. So this is a typical latrine from the 1500s. Imagine, Lord Jesus, having a mosquito bite your butt. Oh no! But that's how it was, and they survived. Hello everybody, this is Claudette for Believe in Yourself video, and we have come to the final leg of our visit to Panama. We're on our way back home. I just want to thank everybody for their support while I was here. Thank you for helping me out and doing what you did. Thank you to my girlfriend Teresa. Thank you to Shadi. Thank you to my niece and nephew. Thank you to my cousin Patricia and her daughter Wendy. Thank you guys for everything. Panama is a beautiful country. Glad I was able to come and take this trip with my daughter. I appreciate the hospitality, and there is a lot that I was able to see, and I'm grateful again. I love the fact that I am from here. I am proud to be from Panama. I am happy that I had a chance to come home and do what I needed to do and document some of my history. This was all about where I come from, my beginnings. Continue to watch, continue to roll me, and I am quite sure you will enjoy all that I have to offer. Thank you again from my heart to yours. Happy New Year to you. Continue to rock with me, continue to roll with me. This is your girl Claudette for Believe in Yourself video from Panama on United flight on my way heading back home to the U.S. Thank you. Happy New Year. Peace and blessings to everyone. Hey everybody, this is your girl Claudette. I am sitting here finally. I have a second to sit down and talk to you and sit down and say thank you to my daughter Maya. We just got back from Panama. 6 amazing days. 6 amazing days in the country that saw me from the beginning to my affirmative years. This was a trip that I wanted to do along with my daughter to show her where I came from, where Claudette St. Rose, where the makeup of who I am today comes from. We had the most amazing time. We were surrounded by people who truly, truly loved us. My cousin Patsy, I want to personally thank you. I wanted to surprise you, but I ended up being surprised. Thank you for being a sport, and thank you for taking Maya and I around. Wendy, Patsy's daughter, my niece, I love you, Wendy. Tu tía te quiere. Te agradezco mucho, mucho, mucho. I'm very grateful to you por haberme llevado donde me llevaste y por haber hecho lo que hiciste por mí. I'm grateful to you. I'm thankful that you were able to do what you did for me. We appreciate you. My friend Teresa and her daughter Shadi, I love you. I appreciate you. They were so instrumental in us getting around and doing the things that we had to do. I want to thank the staff at Novotel. That's the hotel where we stayed at in Panama City. my tour guide, Diana. She was also very helpful. Diana, te agradezco mucho todo lo que hiciste. Thank you so much, Diana, for helping us the very first day and for taking us to Miraflores Locks, and that's part of Panama Canal for the first tour. That was our very first tour. Gracias, Diana. I am just so grateful and humble and thankful that I was able to go on this voyage with my daughter and experience the things that are part of me. I was able to go back to my grammar school where everything began. Just happy that I was able to go back there. These are where my affirmative years started. This is where it all began. I was skipped a couple of grades and I was just on my way doing the things that I had to do. I was able to go to the church where I took my first communion, where I was baptized. I didn't go in, but I took a photo of it. Those are just important places that are really important to me. They're a part of me. I was able to go to the school, my high school, Colegio Guardia Vega, and it's still there. It just needs a little bit of TLC, but the town where I'm from, it's under renovation, and they're doing the best to make things better. And I do believe and hope that this is going to be the case. I felt like a child again going back. I remember walking through the streets and heading to school and just talking with my friends. I mean, the area needs some sort of sprucing up, but it doesn't matter. In my eyes, I just think about myself walking through the streets and my friends. I mean, doing the things that we used to do, the things that kids do. I was able to go to the Panama Canal with Maya. This was something that I think she was in awe. Just the process, just how the locks open up and the water comes through and the ships go through. That is just breathtaking. Everybody should see that. Happy that I was able to do that with her. I was able to go to Cerro Ancon. Cerro Ancon is many years ago, before the Panama Canal was fully taken over by the Panamanians, before the transition happened in 1999. This area was only populated by the United States, and no citizen of Panama was able to set foot on the grounds. That was sort of confidential, and no one at all could really go in there unless you were American. And so it was good to just kind of walk through there and take a picture of the whole thing and just know that things have changed and how great it is that people who were born in the country are finally able to, to walk through the grounds and see exactly what it's like. It's breathtaking. I took a video of that also, and you'll see. I was able to also go to, there's this area that once, in the 1500s, the indigenous people, when they started doing the things that they did, the provinces, they sort of made a module of what it was like to live back then. And so there's this area that the houses are similar to what it was then. And it was just interesting how these people had so little but did so much and survived. And this only says one thing: we don't need a lot to be happy. We just need what's important, and material things don't make you. And so this was another lesson. There were lessons that I learned, and not only learned, but that I was able to reinforce to my daughter and also to myself, because sometimes we forget and we think that material things are everything. They really aren't, because happiness begins with you, and you are really what you need to make you happy. There were so many places that I went. I mean, so many that just to think There's another area that I was able to do. There's so many improvements in Panama today. I mean, the country is really growing. It's beautiful. I was able to go to one of the churches. Panama, this area is called Casco Antiguo, and it's known for all the churches in the 1500s. And one of the things that was very interesting, there's this particular church where the altar is made of gold. And in the 1500s, the story goes that Pirate Morgan, when he came to Panama during that time, because he was, after gold, and what he did, there was this church, again, the altar, what they did, they covered the altar with mud, so he was not able to take the gold. So he didn't figure out that behind the mud there was gold. And I was able to go into that church and stand in there, and just to think that this church has been around since the 1500s. Just think about that. Think about that. Just to think of the things that happened. And this is old Panama. And there's so many improvements in the country. When I think of Panama and I look at Panama, I think of Miami, because it's almost like you're being in the U.S., Panama City. But like everything else, just like here in the U.S., there's beautiful places, but there's also poverty. Because you can't have what? You can't have wealth without middle class and poverty. So there is that as well. But the people are really resilient in my country, and they continue to strive and do what's needed to do better. And I am just extremely proud to be part of Panama. I tell everybody, I am Afro-Latina. My roots are in Latin America, are in Panama, Central America. This is who I am. This is my makeup. Extremely proud. My nieces and nephews, I wasn't able to see everybody because it was just such a short trip. But my nephew, my oldest nephew, male nephew, Isaac, I'm glad that I was able to see you, and I'm just very proud of you. Continue to do what you're doing. My niece, Kimberly, also known as Nana, congratulations on the new baby. He's adorable. And my grandniece, Isaelis, tu tía te quiere. Tia loves you. Your titi loves you. I am just happy that I was able to share. My nephew, Daryl, I love you. Daryl works on the Panama Canal. He is one of the firefighters on the Miraflores locks. Proud of you, extremely proud of you. This trip was so short, I wasn't able to visit your mom's grave, visit my dad's grave, or visit my brother's grave, but they know that the love that I have for them is forever and ever, until I'm no more. But I am coming next year. Panama has so much to see. I did not get to cover half of what is important and that people really need to see about my country. Next trip, next year, we're taking another trip. And I'm hoping, my son Gabriel, I'm hoping that you can come along with us, because it's important for you also to see what really makes your mom who she is, what makes Claudette who she is. So I would love for you to come along also and take that take the trip with us, because it's important for you also, because Latino blood runs in your veins as well. So it is important for you to see where I come from. I'm just grateful for the people at the hotel. They were very, very hospitable, and they were helpful. Our tour guide, Diana, she was great. Gracias, Diana. She's from Venezuela. Imagine, a tour guide from Venezuela in Panama. This is how it is. But it's all good. Great lady. Gracias nuevamente, Diana, por tu ayuda. Grateful, Diana, for all your help. My cousin cooked for me. I was able to eat a couple of things that I truly, truly love. I love tamales. This is one of the native foods in my country, tamales. So I was able to have tamales, and we call it tostones here, but in my country we call it patacones. And this is the fried plantains with chorizo picante. It's the sausage that is hot, but well, not hot, but it's sort of peppery. and it's fried. The only bad thing is that everything is fried in Panama, mostly everything, but it's okay. They have great restaurants. We had a fabulous time. My niece, my cousin Patsy's daughter, Maya and I, we share the same birthday, March 14th. So we went to dinner at this restaurant, and we were having dinner, and so we decided to take a photo because, I'm never really, how often am I going to be in a company of my niece, Wendy, Maya, and myself to take a photo together. So we asked this waiter to take a photo, and guess when was his birthday? March 14th as well. What a coincidence. So we took a photo with him, 4 of us with the same birthday. Can you imagine? That's just like really off the wall, but it was interesting and funny also. But I am just grateful again for the time that I had. I wish I'd spent more time, but time was limited. December is hard. Everybody has things to do, and I was able to get away for a few days with Maya because she wanted to go in December. But we're going back again. Panama, I'm not done with you yet. I have not lived there in near 38 years, 39 years, I think. That's how long I've been away from home. But so much has changed. There are a lot of places that I don't know. When I left Panama, I think General Torrijos was still in command. So that's way back when. But you know what? I love my country. I would always love my country. And I have to go back. It's important for me to be able to know the history of my country and share it with people like you, and you. Because you need to know where I come from and what makes me tick. So I just want to just take some time now that I'm rested. We came in this morning. Our flight was at 11:30 last night, and we got here probably around, I think about 6 o'clock. We finally got back here from Newark. But now that I'm settled, this is a time that I just want to take to just share with you and thank you. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful that you continue to follow me, continue to give me that positive energy, because that's what I give also. And I give that because that's what I receive from you. So I am grateful, and I just want to thank you. And 2019, we're going to do bigger and better things. And I just want to thank you and ask you to continue to follow me, continue to rock with me, continue to roll with me. There's so many people that are instrumental in my everyday life and what I do and what I bring to you. I want to take this moment to thank Mario Gray for continuing to inspire me and push me. He's a pain in the neck, but you know what? He always means well. I thank you, Mario. I appreciate you, and I love you. My kids, Maya and Gabriel, Mommy is a little bit cuckoo, but cuckoo good. And ultimately, I have your back and your back because you guys are a part of me. And I love you guys to pieces. Love you with everything that I am. And you, the people who continue to love me and continue to watch me, I appreciate you from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. 2019 is going to be awesome. If you should need me, please reach out to me. You have my page, Believe in Yourself video. Reach out to me. Happy to come out and hang with you and roll with you. Call me. Prices are great for 2019. We're doing bigger and better things. And, we can talk about what you need to do. There are no jobs too big that we can do or come to you to help you. You can either call me also. You can call me at 212-714-7188. But continue to watch. Continue. I am grateful to you from the very bottom of my heart. And 2019, we're here. So this is my platform to tell you I appreciate you. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year to you, to you, to you, and your families. May you all be blessed. Peace and blessings to everyone from me to you, from my family to your family. See you next year. Peace and blessings.